Hey guys, Mike here from Lunch Money Comics. This is day 2 of Terrificon, and I think today's going to be a really good day because we just had breakfast with Walt Simonson. Yeah, we got in line for breakfast. He was in line behind us. We asked him if he'd join us, and he did, and it was awesome. I love this convention, guys. Come along. This is going to be a really good day. Hey guys, I'm heading to the con floor right now. Today's a weird day because, I got my big book yesterday. So I might be looking for some deals today, maybe some original art, but I also have kind of a cool idea. I think I want to trade up an X-Men 1, Jim Lee, Chris Claremont X-Men 1, and keep trading and see what the biggest book I can get by the end of the day. I think I can pull it off. Let's see how it goes. Should be fun. He totally set off the metal detector. Adamantium. Okay, so today's a big celebrity day, and Mr. Jim Lee himself is here, but you had to get advanced tickets, which I did not. I'm not completely ruling it out, but just to show why having a VIP pass and skipping a line matters, because everything you see is the Jim Lee line. I think he's behind the curtain over there, so pretty insane. And over here, we have the line for Scotty Young, I believe. And there's Mr. Scotty Young himself. If the line thins out, I get something for him to sign for my kids, actually. All right, guys. So we're going to have a lot of cosplayers here today. Like, for instance, we have a Donatello Jedi, which is not something you see every day. Nice work. So Larry's going to go skip the line with his VIP pass for Scotty Young, so he's going to sign a Twig #1 for my kids, who love this. And it was given to me by Josh, the other half of Magic Geek. So, all right. I don't need to meet him. I just want the book. All right. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. Oh, my. Sasquatch Comics. Right here. What's up, Josh?
Hey, boys.
Tyler Maine just sent you a cease and desist order.
Of course he did. I didn't believe you guys existed. Here we are.
I think today we're going to do a lot of digging in boxes. Try to find some of the sneakier deals and books I'm looking for. Oh, yeah. Hi. I'm coming back for this. I'm going to need it about halfway through the day. I know that. Talk about bargain hunting. Look at this. New comics, $1 each. Very cool. And there's Colossus Collector with 3 men in the basement. Oh, look at you guys. Fresh as daisies.
Fresh.
I'm hurting. All right, I'm here with Ryan, the Colossus Collector, and look at that, Alpha Flights, the entire run. And as a Canadian, I mean, look at that.
I'm going for it, but I don't want to buy it all at once.
You're gonna carry it too.
Yeah, that too.
That is awesome. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. We got our complete sets. Look at the whole run in one fell swoop. Do people say one fell swoop still? Do they say that up in Canada?
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. That's cool. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's right here. Too.
Oh, Age of Apocalypse. The whole thing? That's actually pretty neat.
$85.
Ooh, I don't have them all. Oh, dude.
The thing is, if you have like half of them.
I know. I do already.
Man.
That is actually pretty legit. All right, let's head back to the actors area. We get a SpongeBob guy here. That's pretty incredible. Nice work. This is Joe from 360 Comics. Yo. What's up, buddy? So Dr. Plagueis made each of us stickers. Made a lot of YouTuber stickers, and he made some sports-themed ones. So Philly fan over here. Joe's got that's awesome. That's
I'm actually
super cool.
not a Phillies fan, but I'm from Philadelphia. I don't like baseball, but go Birds.
Whatever.
Yeah.
There you go. Close enough. And of course, I got the Bruins one. I'll trade you. Pretty sweet, man.
Nice.
Thanks. Awesome. Thanks, Dr. Plagueis.
Thank you.
So here are all the celebrities, and you guys can see it is much busier today than yesterday. All right, let's see who has the biggest lines among the celebrities. See, we have Tom Welling is not here yet, but Kobe Smalters is. There she is. Kobe Smalters, nice. And here we have Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Who, and Radagast the Brown. Very cool. Well, we have Thing. Very cool costume. We have Mr. Sergeant Slaughter right there. Look at that, in costume too. Very cool. Otto!
Oh, Lunch Buddy's in the house, dude.
Yeah.
Are you really, like, you had breakfast with greatness?
I had breakfast with Walt Simonson. That was a fun start to the day.
Okay,
So that was a good
awesome.
time, man.
You're going hard right now.
I'm exhausted. I'm jacuzzi and nap is an order for today.
Okay.
No. There will be.
There's a man committed to the craft.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
So
right,
we'll see. If you guys, you have to scrape me off the floor later, but I'm here, man. I'll be here.
right.
You went to bed an hour before us. I'm exhausted.
All right, guys. So here's the plan for today. I'm with Chinmo and the entire 3 Men in a Basement crew. I brought my childhood X-Men #1 gatefold. I've had this since 1990-91.
A great book.
Great book.
Great book.
Instead of having Jim Lee sign it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep trading this over and over again with as many people as I can to see what I end up with at the end of the day.
I'm very, very curious to see where this ends up.
It's going to end up with the death of Superman, so it's going to end up.
I hope so.
I hope so too. So what will you trade me for this?
Dig through, find something you want. Let's see what you get.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will do.
Absolutely.
All right. This will be fun.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, what are you thinking, man? Which one of these would you trade?
She-Hulk?
Yeah, the She-Hulk's a cool one, man.
I'll give it a She-Hulk for that.
Dude, thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
All right, so X-Men 1. Man, I've read this so many times when I was a kid, so I'm happy it's going to you. There you go.
Thank
I
you.
got a She-Hulk #1, man. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Enjoy.
All right, I'm here with Josh from Buzz Comics, a friend of mine. Full disclosure, I'm starting with my friends for obvious reasons, and Joel. Josh, I want to trade a She-Hulk, Sensational She-Hulk #1. Awesome book. What can I trade for it? It's a good book. Nice sharp copy.
You know what?
Ooh, Machine Man.
Jack Kirby, awesome cover.
Yeah,
Would that maybe?
I would do a Machine Man #1.
All right, let's
All
roll
right.
with
Let's go.
it. All right.
That's a desired book, is it not?
Such a good cover, man. Look at the Boone, Kirby, Lamb.
Okay. All right, 2 trades down. Let's keep going.
I get that book, it's in horrible.
All right, guys, I'm here with Jeff from Silver Whistle Comics Collectibles. Always does good stuff, and he's got a lot of books priced in the same range as Machine Man. Let's see if we can do a slight upgrade. So this is a tempting book. Let's go through. I'm gonna go through a lot of these. All right. That's a cool one. This is a hot book right now.
I'll tell you though, those are getting harder to get. I know. And people are buying from these boxes all weekend.
Oh, that's a cool one.
It's like I'm getting credit card that was from hardcover, but they're never going to put
Ooh.
it all out.
I just put a bunch of it on eBay.
I wonder if I can pull off a first Jubilee here. So this is first Damian Wayne. That's kind of a cool book. All right, hold on a second. So I think first Damian Wayne, Carlos wanted Web of Spider-Man #1.
Yes.
So I'll trade you my Machine Man #1 for the Web of Spider-Man #1. And you'll trade me the Damian Wayne? You guys are awesome.
Good, dude.
All right. Carlos, Reup Hunter.
Killer
Jeff, hey man, thanks a lot. It's awesome.
Collectibles.
Yeah, we'll keep let's keep going, man. I might be back to either one of you throughout the day.
dude.
Yeah. All right. So where are we at? We have X-Men 1 for a Sensational She-Hulk #1. Should I trade it for a Machine Man #1? Just to trade it for a Web of Spider-Man #1 for first Damian Wayne, Batman 655. Let's see if we can trade this up for something else. Now, as cool as this idea seemed to me at the time, there was one huge obstacle in my way. Me. Having gone nonstop for 2 days with barely any food or sleep, I hit the wall. I was so exhausted I could barely put a coherent thought together, and that's when I bumped into my friend Ricky, who took one look at my 1,000-yard stare and said, "Mike, you need to take a break." So I bumped into my buddy Ricky from All Sorts of Words, and I need to recharge my battery, so we're heading up. Definitely take a rest, play some video games maybe, and come back down later.
2 hours later.
All right, guys, I just took a quick rest and had some food, and man, did I need it. I had to recharge my batteries. I also got my brain working a little better. You know, I'm starting to think this whole trade thing, I might not be doing it the best way because I'm kind of wasting a lot of time walking all around this, massive con trying to find people to trade with, and it's difficult. These guys need to make money. And as I'm doing this, I'm looking at, like, amazing deals on books cash-wise, right? I'm looking at, like, wow, that's an awesome deal. I'm trying to trade for it. And, they won't trade. I thought, well, why don't I just buy the best deals I can and then I'll try to trade everything, right? So I've definitely traded up, and I have a pretty good book right now, but if I keep buying the best deals I see, I'm wondering if I could package all of those, plus the books I've traded for something really good. That might be the way to go. So I'm actually on full-on bargain hunting mode right now. I'm looking for the absolute best deals on books I can find, try to parlay those up into something pretty cool. I don't know if it's going to work out. We'll see. All right, so much for, that's cool. So much for it being less crowded. It is very crowded. Maybe even worse than it was earlier. So I started by going back to some of the best deals I'd seen earlier in the day. First stop, Silver Whistle Collectibles, where I saw this high-grade Wolverine #1 ongoing series that I was able to pick up for $40. All right, Jeff, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
I'm sure I'll be back. You have great prices.
Thanks.
Next stop was just across the way at J&S Collectibles, where I was able to get this Strange Tales 180 first appearance of Gamora, also for $40. All right, had to get it from J&S Collectibles. First, Gamora. Thanks, appreciate it. You're welcome. Next stop was Next Generation Comics, where I was able to get this Nova #1 for, guess how much? Cash price?
$40.
$40? You got it, man. And lastly, I went back to Chu Kingdom, where I picked up this Amazing Spider-Man #238, first appearance of the Hobgoblin. Nice mid-grade copy, around a 5.5, with the tattoos. And I know what you're thinking, and no, I did not get this for $40. All right, William, I love this guy. Awesome deals. You have insane books, but I got a crazy good deal on another Spider-Man first appearance, dude.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to be back tomorrow before the con closes, because you never know what deals you're going to have. All right, thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Then I had just enough time to make one more trade before dinner. First, Carol Danvers. Hey, Josh, will you trade first Carol Danvers for the Damian Wade?
Yes.
All right, do it.
Shall.
All right, that's what you even trade. All right, thanks, man. Trade that for an extra #1.
That's insane.
All right, guys, it is dinner time. I'm meeting a whole bunch of the guys to go get some burgers. I'm pretty excited because I am still pretty famished. I got a lot of stuff, and I got to drop it off in the room first. Here's the thing, though. I still might not be done, not only this day, but certainly not tomorrow. And I still am keeping these trades going, guys. I got some good books, and I'm hoping I can leverage it into a better book tomorrow. That's the plan. That's the plan. But see you guys later. Should be a fun night. And a fun night it was. Even though I was still completely gassed, I got some much needed food with my friends. Great burger, by the way. Then we retreated up to the room of Ryan, the Colossus Collector, where we just got to hang out some more, talk about the day's events, our favorite pickups, and just enjoy each other's company. And it was great because I got to hang out with my friends who I made online, as well as a few that were local. Then we all went up to watch the 3 Men in a Basement live stream, which they did right in the lobby of the 30th floor. These guys worked their tails off all weekend long, promoting the show, doing giveaways and raffles, and ending every night with a live recap of the day's events. And it was honestly one of the highlights of the entire weekend. We even had a surprise visit from Adam Hughes, who walked out of his hotel room and wandered right through the set for a pretty funny interaction. Finally, far later than I care to admit, I had a few moments to reflect on the day's pickups and which comics I wanted to keep and which ones I would try to trade on day 3. Then, mercifully, sleep finally took me. All right, guys, it is day 3 of Terrificon. I did get a little bit of rest last night, still not nearly enough, but I started the day off really strong by having breakfast with my friends. And once again, Walt Simonson, one of the most special moments I've ever had as a comic collector. But you know, the day isn't over. At the end of the day, I'm going to celebrate a pretty big pickup with a pretty awesome photo op. And until then, let's see if we can find some last second deals. One thing I need to mention is that on this last day of the con, I was very short on time. By the time I'd checked out of my hotel room, brought all my stuff to the car, and hit the con floor, it was already close to noon, and I had several events booked in the early afternoon. Not only that, I had to leave a little early to bring my friend Rohan to the airport. So if I was going to pull off my big trade, I had to do it soon. Oh, that's cool. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's normal. I didn't see that yesterday.
There you go.
Was it covered by all the stacks of comics yesterday?
It came in late.
Oh, it came in late?
Yeah. It wasn't here the whole day. Yeah.
Very cool. Always cool to see in person. So, of course, if I want to trade for some comic books, I got to find some comic books I want to trade for. That's the hardest part right now, honestly. And it was right about then I found the perfect book. So I'm here with Joel. It's kind of funny because I've been going back and forth with you and Josh. But I traded my X-Men 1, trade, until I got to Josh and got first Carol Danvers. I got these for really good deals. And you, as you put it,
Yep.
Wait, so this is the Hulk 180 with the most character in the con.
It is.
All right, missing a Marvel value stamp, of course. It is written all over it, scribbled out, but I don't have a 180.
And now you do.
So I'm going to trade these for this.
This is now yours.
Dude.
Making dreams come true.
Making dreams come true. Joel, you're the best, man. That is awesome. And I love how much character this has. Tells the story. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
Not
it.
a problem. Thank you.
All right, so I just traded for the ugliest Hulk 180 at the entire con. But it's a book I've been eyeing for a while, and as Joel said, it has a lot of character. So I'm losing my voice, by the way. So I have one more big thing to do, but first I have to say my goodbyes to all my dear friends. So let me go do that, and then I have one more pretty cool thing I got to do. All right, guys, we're
big hugs.
give them the big hugs. Bring it in. All right. So, we're all saying our goodbyes, guys. I have one more photo up today, but it's been quite a time, guys. It's been an awesome time.
Indeed.
Yep.
All right, guys, it's a quick goodbye. I gotta run. I love you, man.
I love you, brother.
I'll talk
see
to
you
you.
soon.
Are we excited to meet Daredevil?
Yeah.
Let's make sure he can hear you. Are you excited to meet Charlie Cox? Folks, may I present to you the Daredevil himself, Charlie Cox.
There he is. That's right, guys. I just met Charlie Cox. I had to commemorate the Daredevil one somehow, and the fact he's here, had to do it. I don't usually do the celebrity thing, pretty much never, but I thought it was worth doing it. Kind of fun. My wife would have killed me if I didn't meet him. So yeah, in general, guys, what a great way to end the con. I just said my goodbyes. Very bittersweet. A lot of good friends I got to say bye to. But yeah, I'm going to sleep for 3 days. I have no idea when I'm going to get around to editing this video, but when I do, you'll be watching it. And I'll meet you guys back at the house, talk about my entire amazing experience. So there you have it. That was days 2 and 3 of Terrificon 2024. And as you can tell in the footage, a lot happened on those 2 days. Truth be told, guys, I had a really hard time making this video, and there were several reasons for that. First and foremost, yeah, a lot happened. I took a ton of footage over those 2 days, so much so that I had a really hard time editing it down to a manageable sized video that people would actually watch. But sort of exacerbating that was the fact that I really didn't feel well, especially on that Saturday. And when I was reviewing my footage, I just didn't do a very good job telling a story. Yeah, the narrative just wasn't there. It was all disjointed bits and pieces, and that's why I sort of had to cobble the video together. Sometimes I let the footage speak for itself. Other times I had to insert all of those voiceovers to sort of fill in the blanks, of which there were many. So hopefully the video made sense to you, but also I really wanted to convey the most important part was this was a convention marked by very big moments, and those moments for me were marked by the people I shared them with. And I guess that speaks to the last reason why this video was so hard for me to make, because this really was a convention not about the comic books, but about the people I shared this experience with. And I want to talk a little bit more about my feelings, bare my soul a little bit towards the end of the video. And I guess that's the last reason why it was hard to make, because, it's always difficult to talk about your feelings. But that's at the end of the video. First, I got to show you some really awesome stuff before I do. You guys know all the YouTube stuff. Do all that. Follow me on Instagram under Lunch Money Comics IG, and then definitely check my description where I will link to everyone that you saw in this video and everyone that you didn't see. Everyone that made this a special event for me that I shared time with. I will put links to all their socials down in my description. Definitely check them out, guys. It'll be worth your time, especially since most of them already made videos and posted photographs of this amazing event from their perspective. Definitely worth checking out. So let's start right at day 2. As I mentioned several times in this video, I wasn't feeling so good. I barely slept the night before. I think I slept a grand total of 2 hours, and those 2 hours were not next to each other. Guys, this happens to me a lot. I'm notoriously a terrible sleeper. And the reasons don't really matter. I think my adrenaline was kind of pumping. There's a lot of last second planning. Whatever the reason was, I couldn't sleep. So I just got up in the morning, tried to make the most of it, just shake it off with some coffee. But I'm really happy I got up early because I went down to have some breakfast with my friends. We actually went to a restaurant called Tom's. It was right in the casino, and they have a pretty good breakfast. And as I think there were 4 of us at the time, we were waiting in line. Who walks up behind us but Walt Simonson, comic book legend, not only an illustrator but also a comic book writer. And now normally Walt would be with his wife Louise, another famous comic book creator, but he was by himself because Louise was actually really sick and she had to cancel going to this event. So he walks up behind us, and I can't remember who mentioned it first, but they were like, hey, we should ask him to join us. And I had actually met Walt before. He's an incredibly social and friendly guy, and I said, he'd probably say yes. So my buddy Dan of Dan's X-Men Comics said, Mr. Simonson, would you like to have breakfast with us? And he said, sure. And he did. He sat down with us, and guys, we hung out with him for over an hour. And yeah, we did talk about comic books. We talked about the industry, especially back in the day, but mostly we talked about life. We talked about how his wife was doing. He even talked about his grandkids. Incredibly nice person. That honestly probably would have been like the highlight of the weekend if it wasn't for some of the events that happened later on. After that, it was time to hit the con floor, and honestly, guys, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with myself on this day. I had gotten my big book the day before, Daredevil #1. Was I going to look for some more big books, more bargain deals? Was I going to get some original art? I had no idea. But I'll tell you this much, I wasn't really intending on doing my crazy trade attempt. Basically, my equivalent of the red paperclip. For those of you that don't know that term, there was a blogger from Canada years ago that traded a red paperclip for something slightly better. And then he traded that thing for something slightly better, and then better and better and better, until eventually he traded for an entire house. And a lot of people have tried recreating this over the years, doing something similar. It's even been parodied on TV, like on the show The Office. And it's something, honestly, I've always wanted to do, just with comic books, whether it was at a comic book show like this or at a flea market. I've been wanting to do this for a while. For all intents and purposes, I sort of do this all the time anyways. I'm finding stuff in strange and unusual places, and I sort of trade them up and leverage them into better stuff. That's how I got my X-Men #1, but I love the idea of doing this in one single day. But I did not intend on trying this on a Saturday at a gigantic show. Not at all. See, last year I went to Terrificon on a Saturday and it was completely packed, and this year was exactly the same. Although that Friday I was able to walk around with a lot more room and talk to people and make some good deals, Saturday made that very, very difficult. On top of that, a lot of these vendors are not amenable to trades on Saturday. They're trying to make their money. This is a big sale day for them, and they're not willing to trade at least until Sunday. That was my original intent. I wanted to try this on Sunday, but looking at my schedule for the weekend, I realized I simply didn't have enough time. So I guess in my delirium, I thought this was a good idea at the time. I thought I would at least get a couple trades under my belt, just see how it sort of went and go with it. And it ended up being a bad idea for all the reasons that I thought. Yeah, most people were not amenable to trades. And to be able to do this, you need to have a little bit of charisma. You need to have some energy. You need to be really good at negotiating. And I was none of those things on this day. I was struggling so hard. I was going to a lot of different vendors, and I got exhausted really quickly. Thank God I ran into Ricky from All Sorts of Words. He looked at me and he's like, dude, you got to take a break, man. We went up to his room, we had some food, we talked, checked out some video games, and it made a huge difference, guys. I took a quick nap. Ricky, you saved my day and probably my entire con, because when I came back refreshed, I thought better of the whole thing, realized I was missing a lot of great deals that I had seen earlier in the day, and decided I would track them all down. So let's start with a couple of the ones that I did not end up trading. And truth be told, guys, I was never going to trade this book. I've been looking for it for a while. And it is this. This is The Amazing Spider-Man 238 from 1982, written by Roger Stern, art by John Romita Sr. and John Romita Jr. And of course, this is the first appearance of the Hobgoblin, a very notable Spider-Man villain in his Rogues Gallery, another Goblin-themed villain that sort of filled the role previously held by the Green Goblin. But unlike the Green Goblin, who's sort of like a Jester or Joker-themed character, the Hobgoblin is a straight-up horror character. He looks like a Halloween character, more akin to like your fantasy goblins that we all know. Yeah, this is a cool character because the Hobgoblin villain isn't really one person. It's actually sort of a mantle that is handed down to multiple people. In fact, notoriously so. It was actually a long-standing mystery in Marvel Comics who was the Hobgoblin. It doesn't matter who's wearing the mask, guys. It's the mantle, the name, the Hobgoblin. And I've always wanted this comic to add to my Spider-Man villain collection. And I got this from my buddy William of Chu Kingdom. I first met him back at the Three Men in a Basement comic swap earlier this summer. He has incredible books, by the way, just like ludicrous stuff. But he also has really good prices, and I got an awesome book from him at that previous show, so I was really excited to seek him out. He had a lot of stuff I wanted, but this is the one I ended up getting. He called it a 5.5. Honestly, I think he kind of undergraded it. It is a newsstand, and most crucially, it has the tattoos in it. For those of you that don't know, some of these books that came out in the early 80s actually had little tattoos inside of them, like for kids, temporary ones, and kids would use them. That's what they were intended for. Kind of silly, though, if you were to have a book graded without that in there, CGC considers it incomplete and gives you a green label. I think that's absolutely insane, in my opinion. But this one does have the tattoos, so it is a complete book. And here's the crazy part, guys. I got this for $160. That's what William sold it to me for. I definitely thought I was going to spend a lot more money on my copy of this book. It's a great presenting copy. Very happy to have it. So thank you so much, William. If you guys want to check out Chu Kingdom, hey, they're out in New Jersey. If you are in the Northeast, they go to shows all the time. If you're not, though, I believe they also sell on Instagram. I'll put some links down below in my description. Super happy to get this at a great price in my collection. Awesome. Another great deal that I found, this was one of those $40 bargains that I found, but unlike the other two, which I traded away, I decided to keep this one. And it's this. This is Nova #1 from 1976, Marv Wolfman, John Buscema, and of course, this is the first appearance of the character Nova, Richard Rider. A character I like very much. As a matter of fact, I already own this book in a graded CGC 9.6. It's in fact one of the first books, it is the first book, that I actually got graded. Despite what you see behind me, guys, all those slabs back there, I always say this, I'm not a huge slab book fan. I know, I sound like a hypocrite, but it's true. I like reading these books, and when I got that first Nova the first time, got it graded, I never read it. I've been looking for another copy of this book for a while. So when I saw this for $40, I had to pick it up, guys. It was actually $50. I negotiated $40, and I got it from Next Generation Comics. There's some guys out of New York. I had a great conversation with them as well. Very cool book. Happy to pick it up and happy to hold on to it. So before I get into all the trade stuff, I did have some time to do a little shopping for some non-comic books, although they're certainly comic book themed. And the first thing is this. So this is a realistic movie prop replica of Tony Stark's arc reactor heart from the MCU. And this was from a company called Ice Imports. They're actually based out of Connecticut. And they had tons of cool props, whether they were from video games or movies. They had a ton of stuff from the MCU. And yeah, guys, I just saw this and thought it was awesome. It was a little pricey, $125. So I was kind of like, I don't really need to have that. But then I sent a picture of it to my wife. And my wife loves the MCU and, Robert Downey Jr.'s take on Iron Man. So when she said it was cool, that was pretty much a green light as far as I was concerned. I decided to get it. I thought it would look awesome down here in the man cave. And the best part is, guys, if you tap it, it glows solid. If you tap it again, it ebbs like a heartbeat, like in the movie. I just thought that was absolutely fantastic. And like I said, it's really high quality. Like when I took it out, like it has some heft to it. It seems like just like from the movie. Funny thing though, when I took it out of the box, I also found out you have to kind of put it together. Tony Stark built this in a cave with spare parts. Well, I built it in my dining room with a little tiny Allen wrench, but it was still pretty fun to do. And of course, you see, it's proof that Tony Stark has a heart. That's because it was gifted to him like this by Pepper, and a nice little touch. The box it came in says from Pepper. I just thought that was a cool little detail and a nice little touch. So now let's talk about my red paperclip trade. Like I said, not the best idea, but I was still able to end up with a pretty darn good book after all. So like I said, I started with my childhood X-Men #1 from 1991, which I brought just in case I wanted Claremont and Jim Lee to sign it. But I didn't want to wait in line for Jim Lee all day, so instead I traded it to Chinmo of Three Men in a Basement. I got from him a Sensational She-Hulk #1. I traded that to my buddy Josh of Buzz Comics for a Machine Man #1. I traded that to Jeff from Silver Whistle Collectibles, getting from him a Web of Spider-Man #1, which I traded right next door to Carlos Reup Hunter for a Batman 655 first cameo appearance of Damian Wayne, Bruce Wayne's son. It was at that point I crashed out, but later on I was able to trade that book back to Josh from Buzz Comics for a Captain Marvel 13 first appearance of Carol Danvers, which is a book I've actually been looking for. So yeah, just in that day, guys, I was able to trade basically a $1 book for the first Carol Danvers. But also in that intervening time, I was able to find two really good deals. I got from, again, Silver Whistle Collectibles, Wolverine #1 of the ongoing series in really high grade at $40. And I got a Strange Tales 180 First Gamora from J&S Collectibles also for $40. And it wasn't until the next day that I was able to trade those two books plus my Captain Marvel I had traded up to for this book. And like I said, guys, the last day I was very short on time. I knew I needed to find a book quickly. But when I saw Joel and I remembered he had this book, I knew it was a book for me. And he didn't really bat an eyelash. He knew I'd been eyeing it. And I tell you guys this. I always say, guys, it's not the book. It's the story attached to the book. And I can think of no more unique a book to commemorate my silly attempt at a red paperclip trick than this. This is Hulk 180 from 1974. Of course, this is Len Wein and Herb Trimpe. And this is the first appearance of Wolverine. They say it's first appearance in cameo, but he does appear on the last panel, guys. And that's all I need for me. Yeah, I didn't have this book already. I've always wanted this book, of course. Again, not getting to the whole cameo or first full appearance debate. I collect first appearances of X-Men. I needed to have this book. But there's a couple of condition issues going on with this book, isn't there? First and foremost, it's missing the Marvel value stamp, very common thing that plagued books in 1974. But on top of that, it's got a little bit of extra art on it. As you can see, whatever kid owned this back in the day, I assume it was a kid, decided to practice his letters and he wrote Hulk all over the trade dress. He scribbled out the top. There's marks all over this thing, color breaks. I do not care. To quote Joel himself, this was the Hulk 180 with the most character in the entire convention, and I have to agree. And listen, guys, I know there's some purists out there, big-time comic collectors that are looking at this and saying, Mike, you are insane. I never would have traded those books for this ugly of a copy of Hulk 180. But I love it. I absolutely love this book, guys. Like I said, it's the memories attached to the books that matter to me. And I thought of no better book to commemorate my trade attempt at Terrificon 2024 than this one. I will look at this forever and always remember this experience. And I just think it's really cool. It's a well-loved book, and now I get to love it too. So what am I into this book for? Well, like I said, my childhood X-Men #1 basically cost me nothing, and those two books I got for $40. So I'm into this for $80, which I think is perfectly fine for a really low-grade first appearance of Wolverine. Pretty cool book and souvenir from Terrificon 2024. Thank you so much, Joel, for trading me this book and for the awesome memory. But I had one more big thing planned on that last day, and it was meeting a pretty famous celebrity, and it's all thanks to this book right here. So, this, of course, is Daredevil #1. This is the book I got on the first day of Terrificon, a book I've wanted for a long time because I love the character Daredevil. I got it from my buddy Steve, and it pretty much made my entire weekend. But I also knew that on Sunday only, a special celebrity guest was flying in, and it was none other than Charlie Cox, Daredevil himself. He played Matt Murdock in the Netflix series, and of course now he plays him in the MCU proper. And I said in the footage, guys, I'm not a big celebrity guy. Like, I don't get starstruck at all. I'm far more likely just to start up a conversation with them, talk about some of their work. I don't have to get photographs and signatures and things like that. I make exceptions for comic book people. Obviously, it's a comic book channel, and I do love my comics, but celebrities and actors, not so much. But Charlie Cox, I will definitely make an exception for, especially since I got this book. Also, my wife loves him, and she would have killed me if I didn't see him. So once I got this book, I knew I had to try to meet him on Sunday. Like I said, I was on a very short timetable, and what I wanted to do was just meet him, talk to him a little bit, and show him this book, and get a quick selfie. Problem is, not being a celebrity person, I kind of screwed up when I bought the ticket. So see, you can sign up for two different things with the bigger celebrities. One is what's called a signing, and the other one is a photo op. I thought what I wanted was a photo op, and I was wrong. The signing is actually the meet and greet, where you actually get to talk to the person, and you can take a selfie. The photo op is completely different. It is a soulless assembly line prom picture parade is basically what it is. They put the celebrity behind this curtain. You get in line, you walk in, you can say hi for 2 seconds, you have to turn, say cheese, and then they usher you out. There's no conversation, there's no interaction whatsoever. You're on a horrible blue background. Again, it looks like you're getting your prom picture taken. And to make matters worse, the celebrity is doing this for thousands of people, and they sort of just have a plastered on, fake smile for the whole thing. So I was actually grumpy that I didn't get the other ticket when I figured out I got the wrong thing. So I actually went to the Terrificon people trying to swap my ticket. The only way they could make it work was if I went later, and I couldn't do that because I had to bring my friend Rohan to the airport. So I was stuck, and I was grumpy about it. But whatever, here I am in line. I'll make the most of it. I get to the front, I see the curtain open. The guy in front of me goes in, very, hey, how you doing? Quick picture. The guy leaves. It's now my turn. But before I can walk up to Charlie Cox, something really cool happened. The curtain opposite of me opens up, and his whole family came in, his wife and all his kids. And he had just flown in from Chicago doing something very similar there. And all of a sudden, that plastered on smile became very genuine. He was so happy to see them. He gave them some hugs, and it was really cool. Now, when it's my turn to walk up, he looked completely different. So I went up to him and I said, hey, Charlie, I don't normally do the celebrity thing, but I just got this and thought it would be pretty cool. And he looked at this and he went, no way, that's awesome. You just got that? I was like, yeah. He's like, how much was it? And I told him, he's like, it looks like it's in really good shape. I'm like, yeah, it presents really good. And then he takes the book out of my hands and starts showing it to his kids. He's like, hey, look at this. And I don't know if they knew what it was. It seemed like they did. Like, that's why he was showing it to them. Like, they're into comic books. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, we were so distracted that we were holding up this line of, hundreds of people. The photographer actually had to get our attention. He's like, hey, over here. We turned, we smiled, they took the picture. And then I said to him, I said, hey man, I really appreciate it. I like everything that you do. And he said, hey, congratulations. That's pretty awesome. And he gave me a big old handshake. So I was really worried this was going to be a soulless, horrible interaction in brief. And it was anything but. I walked out. They have printers set up. They print out your photo really quick. And here it is. And I can tell you guys that my smile is absolutely genuine. And I'm pretty sure Charlie Cox's was as well. Pretty awesome way to end the Comic-Con. This is literally the last thing I did. We left right after this. I just thought it was a really cool thing to do to commemorate this awesome comic book. An amazing moment, an amazing book to remember Terrificon 2024 by. But here's the thing. Believe it or not, this wasn't the best thing that I got all weekend. And this wasn't the best moment. For that, I'm going to have to tell you a quick little story. So I mentioned that on the morning of the third day, I once again had breakfast with Walt Simonson. Yeah, kind of crazy. You would think once would have been enough, but no, that next morning, because it was our last day, me and all my friends who had, come from all over this country to go to the con, we wanted one last meal together. So we all went down to that same diner, this place called Tom's, to have breakfast. And we're at one gigantic table, all of us gathered around, and not too long after we put our order in, who walks in, just like the day before? Walt Simonson all by himself. We were like, hey, quick, go get him. I think it was Ryan, the Collector, ran over, asked if he wanted to have breakfast with us, and he said yes. So he came and sat with us, and he was at the complete opposite end of the table with me, so I barely got to talk with him. That's fine, because some of the guys who didn't really get to talk with him the day before got to kind of chat him up. But guys, it was just a really special experience, not just because Walt was hanging out with us again, but because we were all together, and it was just a really special moment, a really great way to sort of again, encapsulate and sear that memory of the weekend into our brains. But then my buddy Ricky from All Sorts of Words had a really cool idea. And Ricky's a very bright guy. He's always thinking ahead. He also has a big heart. He had a cool idea of how to commemorate this really neat event. So he flagged down the waitress and he asked her for a paper menu, to which she replied, we don't have paper menus. They only come in little plastic things. Ricky asked her for it and he was able to get in between the plastic and pull out a menu. And then Ricky said he wanted everyone at the table to commemorate this moment by signing it, starting with Walt Simonson. And that's exactly what we did. Here you see a breakfast menu from Tom's at Mohegan Sun, and right there at the top, you see the iconic signature of Walt Simonson. We then passed it around the table and all of us signed it in turn. We have Rohan and JP from Absolute Game of Nerds. We have Brian, Big B McFly, the comic guy. We have Bruce from Up North Comics. We have Ryan, the Colossus Collector. We have Brandon from Mon Comics. We have Ricky from All Sorts of Words. We have Dan from Dan's X-Men Comics. We have Mr. Akins from What's on the Comic Rack. And of course, we have me from Lunch Money Comics. And I thought this was the coolest thing I saw all weekend. Of course, there's 11 of us there now. And then the debate started. Well, hey, there's 11 of us and only one menu. Who gets to keep it? We decided because it was Ricky's idea, it would go back to him. So it got passed back to Ricky. Conversation started picking back up again. And then Ricky turned to me and very quietly said, this is going to you, right? I actually didn't know that. And I'm not sure why he gave it to me. I don't know if it's because, everyone came out to my neck of the woods. I don't know if it was because I was the one that sort of suggested this whole trip. I'm not even sure if I was the one that actually suggested we do this trip. But for whatever the reason, Ricky thought I should have it, and it seemed like everyone else agreed. And that is why this is the best thing that I got at Terrificon 2024. Not only does it, encapsulate that specific moment with my friends, but the entire weekend with them in general. I mean, this is sort of indicative of the stuff that was going on. We were hanging out whenever we could. We'd bump into comic book artists all the time. I rode the elevator down with Al Milgram, like randomly going to my car. It was one of those types of weekends, but this special time with Walt Simonson at this moment just made this so special. I'm so happy that Ricky thought of this. I thought it was great. We all got to take a picture with this menu, each of us. But still, guys, as much as I love this, I feel incredibly guilty to have this all on my lonesome. And I think it was JP was the first one that suggested it. He's like, hey, if someone gets like a really good comic book, we should send it to them. It's kind of like a trophy. And that gave me the idea. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to treat this like the Stanley Cup. Whenever someone does something really good, has a big change in their life, they have a new kid or they, get a really big comic book, a new house, whatever that moment is, I think I'm going to send this to that person and that person gets to keep it until they pass it on to the next person. I think that is the best way to commemorate this experience where we all get to enjoy it. Oh, also, this is incredibly filthy. Yeah, the menu itself is like covered in grease. There's even like crumbs wedged between the plastic. It's a greasy diner menu, right? But that just adds to the overall charm of this. It really is one of a kind and it's something truly special. If you guys will indulge me for a moment, I'd like to share with you my final thoughts of Terrificon 2024 and what this entire weekend meant for me. So Lunch Money Comics recently hit 2 years on YouTube, which is absolutely crazy to me. It seems like just yesterday I started, but I recently said this. I started Lunch Money Comics really because I was bored. I just wanted to talk about comic books and I had no one to talk about comic books with, so I just started talking to my phone. And at no point in time when I started did I ever think Lunch Money Comics was going to turn into something like this. And I don't mean like a channel with a pretty good following or a really good comic book collection. No, I mean I never thought Lunch Money Comics would become this big a part of my life, a positive part of my life. I mean, this has changed my life in profound ways that, frankly, I can't really get into without getting too personal for the internet. But like I said, I started the channel by talking about comic books to nobody in particular, so you can imagine how surprised I was when people answered back. People who had the same love and passion for the hobby that I did, and these weren't just nameless commenters, these were real people that I made real connections with. And pretty soon, for a lot of them, I had a face and a real name to go along with it. And the connections grew. Let me tell you guys something I've known for a while now. Lunch Money Comics stopped being about comic books a long time ago. For me, this hobby isn't really about the comic books anymore. It's about the people I share the hobby with. And that was never more apparent than this weekend. Because while comic books may be the initial reason you make those connections, it's events like this that turns those connections into real friendships. And it's funny, these events can be very expensive and they're exhausting and it flies by way too quickly. But as soon as it's over, you just want to find a way to make those connections last a little longer. Luckily for me, seeing most of these people is only a few mouse clicks away. But for some of them, they may very well be lifelong friends. Not all, but certainly some of them. And that is pretty amazing. That's an amazing thing to find because you looked into a camera one day and talked about comic books. So what I'm really trying to say is that I think it's special. This community we have and this hobby we share in its capacity to bring us together. And I'm not just talking about YouTubers, but all of us who love comic books, whether you're a collector or a reader or even a comic book creator. I mean, I had breakfast with one of the greats in the industry and it wasn't awkward. It wasn't weird. He was just a pleasant stranger I met who happened to have really amazing comic book stories to tell. And those connections, whether they're spontaneous or by design, whether they're fleeting or long-lasting, they enrich your life and make it fuller. Comic books might have provided the initial reaction for those connections, but these shared moments together, they are the catalyst for long-lasting friendships. I am eternally grateful to everyone who supported this channel over the last couple of years. Honestly, your support means to me more than you could ever actually possibly know. And I don't really know what's going to happen next. I do know that I'm going to keep hunting for comic books in strange and unusual places. And as long as I'm still having fun and people like the content, I will keep making videos. But I will tell you this. This feeling I have right now of community and friendship, it's a feeling I want to chase. And it's a feeling I think I can only get if I do more adventures like this. To not only build stronger connections with the friends I've already made, but to make new ones as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you all in the next one.